haven't actually looked at this in so long. Bacchanalia is a comic that I made for my senior thesis class. Recently, at a comic convention in a small Midwestern town, this mom came up with her teen daughter who was getting bullied a lot, and during the worst of it, she had just carried this book around, like, as this, like, sort of talisman. Sometimes I find myself saying, like, is this really the best thing I could be doing? But to make a book that feels like it is a friend when you don't have a friend, that's the kind of thing that feels vital. It just meant so much to me. I'm Lee Knox Ostertag. I majored in cartooning and I graduated in 2014. I don't think I applied to any other schools. I just applied to SVA because I knew that that was it. That was the place to get the education that would take me where I wanted to go. It was this kind of incredible time of exploring and learning how to really work hard. I was in this constant state of receiving inspiration and information and then trying to turn it out in my work. I started working on a comic with a friend that he wrote and I drew, made on the printer at SVA and stapled together. They were very, very poorly made, but we built this audience and then the audience helped us make the book. When I graduated and there wasn't an authority figure in my life of a university or a teacher, it felt like walking on the tightrope and then looking down and being like, oh my gosh, there's a huge crevasse there and I'm suddenly afraid of falling when I wasn't afraid before. That did start to introduce a little self-doubt. But at the same time, there is something about fear that to me is often a trail marker to say, go in this direction. So I started to ask myself, do I have the courage to pitch a book that is just myself, and who am I truthfully? I had a really imaginative childhood. I spent a lot of times just like walking in the woods and making up stories for myself. Because of that, I knew I wanted to draw things set in the forest, something that explored gender. I knew I wanted to tell a fantasy story. So all of those sort of funneled into my first book, The Witch Boy. I put together a pitch. It was very scary. It took a really long time to make sure that I was solid on the story. But I was lucky enough to sell it. It became a trilogy. They asked me for more books. And that to me feels like the real beginning of my career because it was me finally having a voice and trusting myself to tell a story. So to every young artist, I would give the advice, pursue the thing that you are passionate about. Pay attention to where your fascination falls. Go into the wilds of your brain that you have to go into in order to come out with something that feels incredibly impactful.